What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and Troy Baker, the incredibly talented voice actor who plays the role of Joel in The Last of Us and very briefly in The Last of Us Part 2, has come out and had some things to say about fans that don't like this game and also about critics, and it just makes me wonder why. Why is he so salty about this? If indeed, this game is selling so well, 4 million copies in the first week, like we all said before that massive 80% drop off. And it has incredible reviews from all the critics. So why is Troy Baker, so focused on this thing and so upset? We're going to take a look at some of the things that he's been saying over the past couple days. And one thing that a lot of people are talking about is this. Now, he leaves this response to Jason Schreier. Now, we do need a little bit of background on this. Jason Schreier has been kind of a thorn in Naughty Dog's side for a while. I have some issues with Jason Schreier, but he does go out there and put some developers on blast. He does do that, and that's exactly what he did to Naughty Dog. This article right here: as Naughty Dog crunches on The Last of Us 2, developers wonder how much longer this approach can last. This is a evisceration of Naughty Dog and their work practices. This came out several months ago. It was, denied by Naughty Dog. Oh, no, we don't have anybody like that. There's nobody that, nobody doesn't like working here. We love it here. He goes on and details how, 70% of the major staff has left after Uncharted 4 between then and the release of The Last of Us Part 2. How people have complained about the crunch that they are under, how much they are being forced to work. And so a lot of people at Naughty Dog don't like Jason Schreier. He puts out this tweet. He didn't tag hashtag Last of Us Part 2, nothing. All he said, video games are too long. And I think a lot of people can argue back and forth on that. I would say some video games can be too long, but a lot of people want to get what they pay for, right? So someone has a response to this. All Jason Schreier says is this: video games are too long. Troy Baker, from out of nowhere, posts this. This is a quote from Teddy Roosevelt. I'm not sure why that applies to someone who is simply saying video games are too long. I'll just leave this here. The man in the arena. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. What are you talking about, dude? He just, you are so upset and so sensitive about anything that Jason Schreier says. He literally just says video games are too long. And Troy Baker wants everyone to know that it's not about the critics. It's about everyone who puts their blood, sweat, and tears into this. It's about me who pretends to be a fictional character. I'm the one putting in the blood, sweat, and tears, guys. It's so laughable and so pompous. It's pretty disgusting. And a lot of people called him out, including Jason Schreier. He says, LMAO, you tweet the broadest, most innocuous tweet or take and leave the internet for a few hours, and suddenly you come back to hundreds of angry messages and a mega popular voice actor quote tweeting you with a 400-word Teddy Roosevelt quote about how critics suck. It's pretty interesting. Now, I don't necessarily agree with his video games are too long take. I would say some. Maybe Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That might be a little long. But for the most part, I kind of disagree. But it is true. Troy Baker got so upset. And it's not the only thing that Troy Baker has been upset about over the past couple days. You can see this. He's very upset about the people that don't want to play this game. And then he spoils some incredible movies for people. That's what Troy Baker does. Maybe someone's never seen these movies. Everyone was really upset about spoilers before. Troy Baker was crying over people spoiling The Last of Us Part 2 in his Instagram chat. But he doesn't mind spoiling all of these movies for people. Very interesting. Hashtag, someone told me Citizen Kane was about a rich dude's sled and it saved me 2 hours and $20. Hashtag, someone told me Brad Pitt was just Edward Norton's imaginary friend and it saved me 2.5 hours and $20. And who cares if they make soap? Hashtag, someone told me Bruce Willis was dead the whole time and it saved me 2 hours and $20. I mean, he was John McClane. You don't think he would know if he got shot? Way to ruin Die Hard for me. So he's going out there and being like, oh, look at all these people that just because Joel died, they're upset they don't want to buy the game. That's what he is going out and saying, and it's not the only time that he spoke about this. Now, he got a lot of blowback for this, a lot of backlash, a lot of people talking about it. He says, it wasn't meant to point out varying opinions or criticism. I welcome those and have built a career on taking criticism. Direction is essentially that. If you've built a career on taking criticism, you sure are very sensitive to what should be, right? Look at this, 94 on Metacritic. The second best reviewed PS4 game of 2020, one of the best reviewed in the generation. If you've built a career on taking criticism, then why are you so upset? Why are you focused on this supposed minority of people that are upset about your game? This is my admittedly very self-indulgent, yes, you are self-indulgent, way of pointing out the fallacy in the argument of forming an opinion without first-hand knowledge. If after experiencing something you find it to be blank, I condone and encourage your ability to form whatever opinion you might have. But does he really? Because I don't think that he really thinks that. Listen to what he says here. Troy Baker, when you listen to this, Troy Baker is saying that, people can't change their opinions nowadays. People are just too stubborn nowadays. And even if you listen to it, I think he goes and is somehow blaming President Trump when he speaks about the last 4 years of our society in a very strange way. Let's take a listen to what he says on this podcast.
No, I don't think it's that.
2020 without this? Or?
I think if this game came out 2 years ago, we would have had a completely different response, even with the leaks. Even with the leaks, we would have had a completely different response. The culture that we have right now, that has grown over the last 4 years specifically, is one that says...
That's what I mean. But I think that's some sort of weird shot at Trump, to be honest with you. Obviously, he didn't say Trump. He just said over the last 4 years. That kind of makes sense to me, 2016. But that's just me. That's me putting that on him. That's not him saying that. That's just what I feel like he was saying.
Regardless of truth, regardless of facts, regardless of, empirical evidence, my opinion will not change. And in fact, the more you tell me, the more I will dig my heels in and pour the concrete on my own shoes in order to solidify my position. Period.
I think...
So that's what he feels. That's what he actually feels. That's what he said, that people are not able to change their opinions, that even presented with all these things, they won't change their mind. They're just too stubborn. So when he says, if after experiencing something you find it to be blank, I condone and encourage your ability to form whatever opinion you might have. I don't think you actually believe that, Troy Baker. I think this is what you're saying to save a little face after so many people are coming out and saying, why is Troy Baker being so sensitive and so, crazy about criticism, especially this tweet in response to Jason Schreier. Critics are critics. There's going to be people that don't like your game, and you even knew that. You knew that. This was an interview that he gave a couple months ago in approaching The Last of Us Part 2. And Troy Baker even said that we know there's going to be people that don't like this game. He says this: I want people to go in open-minded to this story and allow Joel and Ellie to tell their story, not the story that people think they want to be told, while Baker was speaking with fandom. If people go in open-minded, I think they'll have a completely different experience than if they go in closed-minded. That was after saying that he knew that there are going to be a lot of people that don't like this story. And then one last thing, I just wanted to show it again. This is Troy Baker after the game leaked. This is Troy Baker telling you not to listen to this. And this is why this was so disingenuous then, and now knowing what we know, it's incredibly disingenuous. Listen to Troy Baker.
There's crazy games for 3 decades. And this is the most biggest, ambitious game they've ever done. Your experience could be undone by a couple screenshots.
You think the experience could be undone by a couple screenshots? This was before, when he's trying to tell people that they need to play this game. You need to buy this game, guys. Don't believe the leaks. Let's be real. It wasn't a couple screenshots. It was massive amounts of game footage. And seeing that now, we know why that was leaked. And if it was really only a couple screenshots, if it really didn't affect anything, then why did Naughty Dog go to such extremes to try to block these leaks from getting out there. If it really didn't affect anything, it couldn't ruin anything. That's because it was more than that. They knew that they had been caught. They had been caught red-handed, falsely advertising this game, and Troy Baker is still encouraging you to go buy it.
6 years of development could be undone by that. It's a game. It's a game. You have to experience it.
And that's why so many people think that it was released by someone involved in Naughty Dog, not hackers, because they knew exactly what to get out there that would make everyone have this reaction. But Troy Baker, for some reason, despite the glowing reviews, the critical reviews, but just because a handful of critics don't like it, oh, and, you know, half of the fan base absolutely hates what they did with the game, Troy Baker's getting really upset about critics all of a sudden posting these pompous quotes from Teddy Roosevelt. Again, I think that Troy Baker is an incredibly talented voice actor, great voice actor, but his response to this and his kind of interpretation of the fan base and why he thinks that they don't like this game just speaks volumes that all of these people run in the same circles. They all think alike. He thinks just like Neil Druckmann does. He's the same type of guy. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Make sure you smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.